Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 313 at scavengerlife.com.
This morning, we woke up early and had a whole day of scavenging.
It was very tiring.
Yeah, we're kind of towards the end of our day recording this, but why am I talking about this?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're renovating this house, and we're right kind of towards the end of its renovation, and like we need a sink cabinet,
for a bathroom sink.
Right, we have a sink, and I don't know if other people are like this, but like if you go to Lowe's and you want to buy a sink cabinet, they look all right from the outside, but it's basically particle board.
It's particle board,
right? And also, if you go to IKEA, which we have, most of those cabinets are also particle board. Yes. So they look nice at first, but as soon as they start getting scratched or a bit of water damage, you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get something nice, like solid wood.
Right.
And then if you start going to the stores that sell solid wood sink cabinets, like it's Restoration Hardware, or where did we go to? Pottery Barn. Pottery Barn.
I mean, we were like, how much are
over
they?
$2,000.
I mean, it's just insane.
So that's why we started our day scavenging. I found an auction kind of close to us.
Yeah.
And, they show photos on their website. And it looks like what we're thinking is like if we buy like an old wood cabinet.
Right.
Washstand.
Right.
And so we went over there, and it turned out they weren't the right size, so,
and so what was funny is we got there like 15 minutes before the auction starts, right? Auction starts at 9 a.m. And I'm looking around at these pieces, and I'm like, none of these are going to work. And you were so funny. You're like, let's go. Like, we're not sticking around at all.
Yeah, because unfortunately the auction was kind of antique-y auction. Like,
it was all antiques.
Definitely like the kind that can happen around in our area where someone's died.
Right. They're a collector.
They were probably, who knows, maybe they were in their 80s. So if you think about their time period, they're really into like, 1920s farm vintage.
Right. Old stuff.
Super antique.
Yeah.
So I bring this up because, and then we're like, well, in this town next to us, there's all these other places where we can scavenge, trying to find like a wood cabinet. And we went to a flea market.
Right.
We went to like these antique furniture mall kind of things. We went to like an
architectural salvage place.
Right. And then we went to some, it's thrift stores.
And we did not find a single piece of furniture.
And we went to some yard sales.
Oh, yard sales. Yeah, we were hopping around the yard sales.
And we were, obviously the whole point was to find this one cabinet. But also we're, buying stuff just for our store.
Just our business. It's regular. It's not like we're like, there's something cool, I'm not going to buy it. We're scavenging at the same time. Yeah. But the main focus is like your eyes are out for this like wood cabinet thing.
Yep. So 2 lessons from this.
Yes, what's your lesson?
Number 1 is if you want something, sometimes it just takes time. That's the thing about scavenging. If we're looking to save its money on something, what we have to invest is time.
Time.
So if we eventually find this, we'll probably get it for a really good deal.
Yeah.
Quality for a good deal. Right. But we're also putting a lot of time in. You know? And that's different from the people who are willing to go to Pottery Barn and spend $2,200 just right then because they don't have to spend any time. Like, they're like, yes, I want that.
That one's great. It's the right size.
Send it to my house. It's quality.
White glove.
Right.
Service to my house.
Right. And that's really what scavenging is about. So... but the fun thing is it is also like a little hunt, and when we do find it and get it in where it needs to go, it'll have like a little story behind it. I will remember today.
Right. Totally. And I hope we do find something because it's...
Are you ready for a lesson number 2?
Oh, yes.
Because I don't think we talked about this.
Okay.
So, as we're going through, we kind of hit all the different kinds of places where we normally shop.
Right.
Auction, flea market, thrift store, and yard sale.
And salvage place.
Right. So those are kind of the places where we're all finding stuff.
Yeah.
So in one day, I got to kind of experience those different ways to scavenge. And I talked about this on its forum earlier. It's this week. Yard sales, I'm really kind of down on yard sales.
Why?
What's
your initial thought?
I'm just like, these days, I'm just like, God, it's just so much energy. And so many yard sales for us lately have been just duds.
Junk.
You just go in, it's just like, it's you know, we're in this period of everyone's buying stuff from Target and Walmart.
Right, and that's what they're selling.
And then that's the stuff that's in their,
not always, but majority of the stuff we see.
Look, like people told me on the forum, they say they're really still pro at yard sale. I know you can find good stuff. We even found some good stuff today.
Yeah.
It's just, for me at the moment, the amount of energy it takes to hit enough yard sales to find the good stuff I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
And I think also, I guess I just want to bring it up because I think this is how it is when you're a full-time scavenger for a job. You know, like this is our job. We've been doing this since 2008, and this isn't the first time I've felt it's like this.
Yeah, sure.
I will fall in love with a yard sales again.
Right.
It's just, I think each of us have different stages where we fall in and out of love with different ways of scavenging. Right now, just yard sales, I just don't get excited. I mean, we used to, you know, we get our local paper. And you
drive
know, around here, that's where everyone puts their yard sales. They don't put them on Craigslist. And I'd go and I would circle them and mark them and make a little map.
Yeah.
And we would spend, you know, leave at 6 a.m.
Right.
And, you know, by 2 hit, you know, 20.
I think that's extreme. I don't think we ever did it that long. But
no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we were doing, like, the yard crawl.
We would drive around until they all started to kind of winding down.
Yeah.
And it would be fun, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just not into that right now.
Well, I think you are liking the flea market more, and I think it's because it's one big concentrated yard sale. Everything's in this one field. It's all right there. You're not driving, you're not looking at the signs, you're not are they closed, whatever. It's like everybody's right there. You walk around again if you want, and you've seen your stuff.
Yeah.
And I understand the appeal of that, where you're like, everything's right here.
Right.
It's here or it's not. I'm not going to, like, drive 2 miles
and
down
I
the
think
road.
that's why I'm also really big into auctions right now, because I love...
Also concentrated,
If you go to the right auctions where they're getting estates that have cool stuff, I love it because everything's right there. And it's like, in the next 3 to 4 hours, we're going to do this. You know?
The other thing about an auction generally, too, is if they do estate cleanouts, which is usually what they are doing, you know... If the person they cleaned out had good taste, you're like, there's good stuff here. Like, this is quality stuff. They knew what they, you know, had.
I think the reason why I like auctions, too, is you're getting closer to the source.
Right. You're not the estate clean out, but
does that make sense? I'm trying to think.
You're one step away from the estate clean.
Yeah.
But flea markets are kind of like that too, don't you think?
Well, I'm trying to think if my logic makes sense. I guess because, like when you go to an auction, the only people that have had their hands in it is like the family. So someone dies, the family filters stuff out, and then everything gets thrown into the auction. And so, and that's why you find a lot of dealers who buy it at auctions who then sell at their thrift stores. I mean, like when we go to a thrift store, unless it's like a independent church thrift store, you know, when you go to Goodwill's, it's just it's been
picked through. I mean,
it's just like there's a lot of stuff, but you're like, but it's all kind of the same stuff. I mean, I know you can find good stuff, and we still do, but it's just like it's all kind of the same kind of clothes. They don't have it's mix of stuff. Like they'll have, you know, like a corner of like hard goods of like plates and kitchenware, and then maybe like a pile of junk, but it's not really deep enough for me. And it's like you said, when it gets to the thrift store, especially like a Goodwill, they've had people pick through.
Goodwill has officially picked through that and put stuff on their own site.
Then you're just hoping that the people have missed
which
something.
they do.
So, I mean, I've talked about this before. I mean, this isn't anything new. But yeah, I really kind of in that mood where I'm craving like getting as close to the source as possible. And I even told you to a day, I was like,
should we just clean out houses?
Yeah, like what if we did, build that huge storage building that we want to build? Then we would have the room to where we could buy out entire estates. Like, what if you could just buy an estate every 6 months and just like live off of that?
That's a good idea. Like the estate clean out people that we know and that we've hung out with and bought from. I mean, they'll clean out a place a week, 2 places a week. I mean, they are like.
Well, they also.
I don't want to be those people.
Right. They also have like 10 employees.
Yeah, they have a crew. Right.
They're about volume, but what if we could somehow buy an estate, buy a whole house of stuff, bring it over, and then just eat into that for 6 months.
Yeah.
I just.
It's a good question.
It was just a feeling I had. I just remember we were at that one yard sale where like the people were just selling stuff. It was just like. Halloween decorations and like
hey,
old
there are
TVs.
people listening who would buy vintage Halloween. They weren't vintage, though.
No. But none of the stuff is vintage.
It's just like from TJ Maxx.
Yeah, stuff from like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
They were moving and they were just
cheap
like
clothes, baby toys.
Like just
cheap decor. I mean, decor, Ryan.
Decor. So it's yard sales like that you're like,
Okay, and then this leads into the more overarching thing that's been hanging over a lot of us is, is this the end of the illicit and forget it, trademarked way of selling on eBay?
Right.
I'm just joking about that, of course. We started doing this podcast and, we were just like, this is how we do it.
Right.
I'll list 500 items as fast as possible. Yes. And then by that time, you have enough in your store where something's going to sell every day. You should probably be able to make enough it's money and then just keep on listing stuff. Right. And that's kind of our thing. List it and forget it.
Right.
Whereas I think a lot of people watching, they were only, they wouldn't have stores. They would list like 60 things, and it just seems like they weren't really doing about its volume.
Or they would do auctions and sell stuff for $9.99.
But as many of us know, eBay has started this thing where they're kind of arbitrarily taking down listings that are over 12 months old. And I say arbitrarily because they haven't done it to us. And we definitely have items that are 12 months old.
Yeah.
But there are other people where they do it to. There's now a link where eBay actually explains why they're doing it. It's still kind of... They haven't really explained why. It doesn't sound like it's only if it's 12 months old. They say if it's 12 months old and doesn't have a lot of views. But they don't say... How many?
Yeah, right.
So,
what are the numbers?
But then, as we talked about it last week, our friend who it happened to, he could just relisted
it.
I mean, done.
Well, and what he did is he said I went through and looked at titles, made sure my photos looked good, and it was had item specifics. And those are good things to do.
And eBay does say in their announcement, they do say very clearly, we know that long tail items are still valuable in the eBay marketplace.
Right. They're not like, we just want to be Amazon.
Right. But yeah, so it's kind of like they're kind of saying both things. They're like, we don't want old things that no one is looking at, but we do understand that some things that long tail items are valuable and they just take a long time because that's the nature of long tail. And
it's cool they use that term though. That's interesting.
Yeah. And if anyone's like,
what is long tail?
It was long tail. Well,
Google it.
Google it.
Google.
It's the hockey stick.
It's
so, but that's the interesting thing, though. We're debating, or we're having good conversations on its forums about do we need to start thinking about it's changing how we do things? There are some people that are like, nope, you list it for 30 days, you let it in, and then you go through each a listing that doesn't sell in 30 days, and you change photos, you change titles, you change prices, and I'm just like, whoa.
What?
And here's the way I'm thinking. It's like, those people could be absolutely correct.
Right.
Like, that way of selling is probably the better way of doing it, where you're like constantly gardening and improving, and you're like looking at the market every single month to see if like the market's changed in prices.
That's so
And the only
amazing.
thing I think is like, I don't want to sell on eBay if that's the way I have to do it.
Exactly.
You know? So it's
don't
not
wanna do
about
it
like
that.
I think it's wrong or right. It's just the way we sell is the way that works for us.
Right.
And if for some reason this were to no longer work for us, the list it and forget it stuff,
Right.
I don't think I would want to sell on eBay.
Yeah.
So that has not.
Right.
I mean, we had a great week, so that hasn't proven to be true.
Right.
But I'm just
Like it's
saying that's my line in the sand. There could be a better way, and if eBay's pushing everyone to be a certain way, if that's not the way I want to be, I don't want to be on eBay.
Yeah, exactly. Because the what makes this business interesting to us is finding cool stuff and selling it, obviously, but messing with the metrics in the market, and to that degree, I mean, you have to do that when you're listing stuff. Who's this for? What is it called? How are they going to find it? You know, all those things. But to that degree, you're like,
right.
It's just not who we want to be as a business.
Yeah. And so this leads me to, I'm taking you down like a journey here.
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
And this leads me to, okay, let's say, hypothetically, eBay was no longer a place where we could sell, or Amazon or Etsy,
sure.
Even if it was like,
who's okay.
Like what would our backup plan be?
Yes, we do have a backup plan. We absolutely do.
Yeah, I mean, like what would the backup plan be for anyone hearing this?
Right.
If you could no longer sell online. Now, I know a lot of people that the backup plan is, well, then, if eBay stops and I do Amazon, or if that doesn't work, I sell on Etsy or I sell on Craigslist. Okay, that's cool. That's definitely, being on another platform. I guess I'm just trying to think of another backup plan that has more to do with the lifestyle we want to have that might not have anything to do with this,
Right.
Like, I guess I just throw it out there because we do have one. And I just wonder if anyone else who sells full time has thought about this.
Right.
For us, as we've been talking about, we've been investing our eBay money into a rental property.
Right.
We're about to finish our second one.
Yep.
I mean, we're close.
We're close. We're very close.
I can definitely say that.
Yes.
The floor is done. We've had it painted.
Outside is painted.
Yeah,
That's like a whole other podcast. Yeah.
And once we get that one up, having it's rentals. I mean, unless the economy crashes, then everyone's screwed doing anything.
Right.
We could live off of that income.
Yes, we could. Yes, we could. Absolutely.
Which is very exciting.
Yes.
It's been a very long,
a long
5
journey.
years trying to get to this point.
Yes.
So I do want to say though, when we first started on eBay in 2008. For the first 3 years, we had no backup plan. I mean, we were just building our first business.
eBay was the backup.
Right. Or eBay was it, you know? And we were just using the money we made on eBay to pay our bills and to invest back into eBay.
And not have to work for other people at that time.
But amazing. I think like many of us figure out, if you're doing this correctly, or
air quotes were used,
if you're selling on eBay in a successful way, you should be making enough money that you have money for your bills plus
yes.
And that's what had happened to us. And then the question is, what do you do with that extra cash,
right.
And I wonder if other people are investing in like something else, whether it be a rental, a food truck. I'm really
you're
about that.
Like, who out there is doing a food truck because I want to interview you?
Seriously, like I think that
I agree.
I think eBay and a food truck would be such a great like.
Maybe you need to do that.
Yeah, like those are two really cool.
Absolutely.
and lifestyles.
You could bring the food truck to the flea market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just what it's thinking about, and because I think for me, us having these rentals is similar to us wanting eBay. We own our time.
Right.
It's semi-passive. We get to choose when the work happens for the most part.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
And it's good, and it helps me sleep at night to know that we've created a backup for ourselves.
Yep, absolutely.
Even though,
well, I mean,
even like this week, we've had some heated discussions about the work we're doing on its rentals because we're passionate people.
Look, redoing a house is stressful and tiring, and you're passionate about every single detail. So we get into it sometimes.
Yeah. It's funny, we sometimes get emails from people. They're like, you guys, seem to work so well together.
We edit out the fights.
I wish I had a relationship like you guys. I mean, or whatever. I'm just like, well, we don't really edit out too many fights here. It's more about, I think we have a good relationship because we allow ourselves to have heated arguments, where we're allowing ourselves to say what needs to get said and to take things to their logical conclusion so we understand each other.
Well, I think part of it, too, is a lot of times with decisions, especially around houses, especially around renovations.
Or any kind of business.
Yeah, or any kind of business that if one person's like, this is how I think it should be, and this is why, and it's very important decision, whatever that thing is, and the other person either doesn't agree or hasn't thought about it and is like, I need to think about that. We're both like this. Both of us are exactly the same. Like when it comes to stuff like this, where one of us is like, this is how it should be. And sometimes, it's tough because the other person's like, what? I haven't even thought about it. I need to see what's going on. That's the all-encompassing week, basically, has been like, it should be like this, just because. And the other person's like, whoa, what? You don't agree.
Uh-oh, we're about to have a fight.
You don't agree with that.
No, I just think, we both are really into what we're doing.
Right.
And so we both have strong opinions about what we want to happen. And so those strong opinions need to come out,
Right.
And sometimes you have two strong opinions butting up against each other. And I love that. I would hate it if you were like, oh, I don't care. What? Whatever. I don't care. I mean, that'd be so boring,
Yeah.
And I don't think our businesses would be good because you didn't care.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about our week on eBay.
Yes.
So I will first start that we had a very good week on eBay. I don't know.
Up and down.
The summer slowdown is not consistent, I'll tell you that much.
Yes.
But what's interesting is that we just found out one day our mail lady came, our United States Postal Service carrier came to the door. When we're home and if there's some big it's boxes, we'll go out there, help her load up just to help her out. Yeah. And she was like, "This is my final day." We're like, "What?"
What? I know. We were just like, "Wait, what?" She retired.
It's retired. I mean, the good thing is where we live, we get a permanent mail carrier, so we get to build this.
Yeah, like she's here every day.
It's not like maybe in an urban area where they just have like a temp you're always dealing with someone new. So we really do build a relationship.
Sure.
It's with our carrier. And now I'm like, Jesus, now we have to train a new person.
Because she left because our mail carrier went to another route because someone else retired. So we lost our original mail carrier that we had for years. So now we're like, oh, people keep getting this.
And I don't know about other people who get their packages picked up. I mean, our mail carrier is really a part of our business.
Yeah, I mean, we tell her that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, she's like an important cog.
Yeah.
That's why I love the U.S. Postal Service. I mean, they're great.
We love them, absolutely.
So we do not know who this new person will be, but now, we're going to introduce ourselves and just kind of explain what we do and what kind of volume we have, and to show them where we store things and how we do it.
Exactly.
And then hear from them what might work better in their world, and and make this happen.
Yep. Just gotta
keep her happy.
Exactly. Yep.
Because where we are, it seems like it's all females.
It's all females.
Yep.
We talked to her. We were like, "Are there any men that work at the post office?" And she said, "There's one guy."
Right. Probably because
so funny.
Probably just because it's woman joined up and she's like, "This is a great job," and then everyone's like, "Let's do this."
Yeah, got on board.
Good for them.
For sure. I love our post office.
Smart. Let's do the scavenge of the week.
We need some music there.
It might have happened just in the past several hours when we were at basically a church yard sale.
Yeah.
Which I do like church yard sales because they're like
I love church yard sales.
Because they're like small flea markets.
They are, because everyone has their table and whatever. So
and is this guy in the country, they do this, a guy pulls up, it's like a big trailer.
This big ass trailer.
Like a wood trailer, and it's just full of stuff. And Ryan found a dance Coben
style paella pan.
Yeah.
Look,
I look 25 cents.
25 cents. Look, I look for a dance all the time. I love it. It's mid-century modern. It's beautiful. And this is a type that I always look for. I always love.
Type in Kobe and Coben.
Coben style. Okay, beautiful. It's sitting right there. I can see it from across the way. It says 25 cents. I'm just like, yep. Because it's like a $50 item.
Yeah.
And it was dark navy blue. I haven't seen that color very often. I was like, oh, I love it.
Very exciting.
It's so funny because that it wasn't an auction. It was the yard sale. I was like buying stuff for our house, like vitamins and like lip balm. It was Dollar General stuff that someone must have donated for the sale. And, at Dollar General, it's usually like $1 or $2. And stuff was 25 cents. I was like, I was like loading up. I'm like, yeah, vitamins for 25 cents. Yeah. It's like so sad.
Oh my God. Discount vitamins.
It's awesome.
Hey, why not?
Hey, that stuff's expensive, you know?
So that was like a good find for sure.
I love that find, yes.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about our numbers for the week. In our main store, we made $2,200.
What?
Which is great. Yeah, I mean,
I'm
that's
doing
like
a double take, dude.
So we sold almost 60 items, and
it felt like it. We
made almost $300 a day. I mean,
that is gold.
Right,
$300 a day was our goal from like 4 years ago.
Right.
We were like, if we could do that,
if it was like this every single day, every single week,
we'd be gold.
We would be on a beach in Honolulu. So it was good. And in our second store, we made almost $500.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
That's
and
really
we
good.
even sold something on Bonanza.
We sold a couple of things. I completely forget what they are right now.
Bonanza.
One of them was a candy thermometer for $12.
Ooh.
Hey, get it off my shelf. Ooh. That's right.
Okay, things we sold. Are you ready for this? It's numbers.
What if I say no?
And then the podcast will be over with.
Yes, I'm ready.
So a good number of our items were over $75. So unlike a week ago, when everything was like under $30, we actually had a lot of, $75, $120, $200 items. But so out of the 58 items we sold in the main store, 36 were under $30. So we talk about. We want, $30 to be our target.
Right.
Like when we're out shopping, scavenging.
That's the minimum.
Everything I pick up, I'm like, I want to pick up things that I know I'm going to sell for $30. However, and I just want to make this clear, that's the goal.
Sure, that's the goal.
But very often we'll pick up things, we think it's worth $30, we bring it home and we look. And it's
worth
not
like
worth that
$20.
much money. Right. Yeah. Or less,
Yeah.
So that means more than half of what we sold was under $30.
Yeah.
Very often it was like, $20 to $24.
Yeah.
But there were some things in there like it's nail polish for $5
Right.
or some older like glassware for like $12,
Get that
hats
stuff off
for
my shelf.
$14. So I just want to make clear, we have stuff like that too.
Yeah, we do.
And out of those, 60 items, 28 of those were clothes, jackets, shoes,
shirt,
hats.
Yeah.
And again, those are stuff that will often sell, for around 20 bucks,
Yeah.
Just
but it adds
bread
up.
and butter.
It adds up. It adds up. It adds up.
Seriously. It's interesting. We have been selling a lot of this cheap, like, it's glassware.
It's not.
Well,
so
it's not.
some of it's. Is crystal glass? I guess it is. That's like the most ridiculous question. It's crystal.
Okay.
A lot of it's crystal, which is high end, like lead glass or whatever. So it's a little bit high end, but to us, we're just like.
But this is all you. We go to an auction. I want this box of perfume. I pay it's $50 for this table of stuff, but it's really it's this box of it's perfume. Has all this like glassware that I'm just like, okay, we'll just throw all that away. And Ryan's like, no.
My thought was
experiment, right?
My thought was this: if we can sell the glassware to pay for the table, you paid $250 for the table for the box of perfume.
$250.
Okay, $200. Yes, not $2.50. So if the glassware, which I think will, and I put low prices on the glassware. I'm not like, this is $50. No, I'm like, this is $16. And stuff's been selling. I'm like, it's Mikasa Crystal. Get it off my shelf. It's cheaper than anyone else. I am not interested in it.
I bet, and so we've been selling that all week, and I bet we've made, $150?
I mean, we're close to making back the table price.
Just on this stuff.
Just on the junk.
I was just going to be like, see ya.
I just sold 15 minutes ago, I sold these 2 hand-blown glass. I think they might be crystal. I don't know if you can hand-blow crystal, whatever. These, tacky Christmas ornament, Christmas tree things. They weigh a ton for, $25. And I'm like, great. Get it off my shelf.
Yep.
It's good.
It is good.
That's my phrase of the week. Get it off my shelf.
Get it off my shelf.
I don't know what
we also sold this industrial, a stool,
a chair.
And if you buy a restoration hardware, it'll be $300.
$400.
But this is for real. It's really vintage, oak
beautiful.
And steel. We sold it for $170. It's interesting. Normally this kind of stuff would be a local pickup, but I guess you were able to ship it.
So the thing about this was, if you picture a stool and it's adjustable so it can go really high or really low, for shipping, I brought it down really low, when we stored it. And the cool thing is it has a little back. You can unscrew the back. So basically, you're shipping the stool, and then you put the back in, you kind of loop it around. So it's a rectangle. It's perfect for shipping. So I wrapped it in a blanket. I had a scrap, blanket, whatever, drop cloth. Wrapped it in that. Made sure all the legs were padded out. Mm-hmm. I shipped it upside down, so the seat was on the bottom.
And did you just have to make a box custom?
No, I had a box.
Oh, really?
Those boxes that we found one time at the dump, they were for these water filter things. Yeah. They're 26 by 26 by no, I'm sorry. They're 17 by 17 by 26 tall. For a stool, it literally was the perfect shape. So I just put it in there and I shipped it out that same morning. I was just and it already got there and he already gave us feedback.
Right. Good feedback.
Good feedback, yeah.
Someone in Cambridge, Mass.
Yep. So that guy knew it was a good price for him.
Yeah.
He's it's probably half price for any store that's,
And I think we bought it for $5.
I think we bought it for $5.
Although we've had it for quite a while.
I think we've had it for 2 years.
Sells when it sells.
Yeah. Actually, if it didn't sell, I was going to put it in the new house as a chair somewhere in the house.
Whoops.
So I want to sell it. I don't want to use it. I want to sell it. I have other stuff to use, but I would have,
Yeah. Customer issues. We had...
Okay, so we had a PayPal chargeback.
Right. And so we've had people on the forum say this is recently. They're like, I just got a message from PayPal that said that the buyer's bank was reversing a charge.
Right, an unauthorized charge.
And I can't do anything about it. And oh my God, and so unfair. And I'm just like, did you read the whole email? Because our email said that same thing.
Right.
PayPal's like, we're going to give the person back their money. There's nothing we can do. But then it says, as long as you shipped the item to the address we told you to with the confirmed delivery tracking,
you're covered.
You're covered under seller protection.
So, even though it said that, so we got this yesterday. We've been super, super busy. I have not had time to call. I am going to call this afternoon.
But the thing did say that it got shipped and tracked.
They said we see that there's tracking. We see it was delivered.
So
you should be covered.
I mean, we'll update you in a week if for some reason we call and there's a problem. But this has happened to us before, and it's really not a big deal.
I've never had a problem.
This is when this is how it's supposed to work, and that's why it's good to have tracking and all that stuff.
Yeah, totally. Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So we should be fine. The other thing too is, it's funny because sometimes you'll get those emails and you're like, that was an unauthorized charge. Like, it's just such a random thing. It was like a set of 3 like terracotta bowls. Right. Like, it's just so low end.
We got an eBay a message while we were at a yard sale today, and it was an item that was shipped overseas through the global shipping program. And he was like, I got it. The top to this thing was broken. And then he had this whole thing about like saying like, give me some extra money, or like give me a partial refund. But you know what we're gonna do?
We're just gonna call eBay.
We're gonna call and have it
closed.
Have the case closed because it's under global a shipping program. And
so eBay covers it. They should cover that damage. Yeah. So I'm gonna take care of that soon, tomorrow morning probably.
But that was it for customer issues.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty low.
As always, let's pour out a little bit of beer on the floor. For all the customers that we all have who are great.
Right.
You know, almost every single customer we had this week is like
majority.
Wonderful. They buy it, they get the item, leave good feedback.
Or say nothing.
All good. Yeah.
And just
are happy. I mean, I think that's our experience with eBay, is that's what it mostly is about.
A majority is good.
Okay, things we learned in the forum this week. It's my cottage.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a he or she. It's one of those things where I don't know. So this person, who I always like their post, they let us know that eBay has upped the number of best offers that a buyer can give you.
Because right now, isn't it like 2?
Well, it was 3, I think.
So you can go back and forth 3 times.
And
seems like enough to me.
Right. So they've upped it to 10 for business and industrial categories, as well as another category. And then
collectibles. That's a huge category.
And then all other categories are now 5. So that's a big deal.
5 is okay. No, because it's good, because then you can kind of like come to a middle ground, and sometimes 3 isn't enough. Although for me, I'm like.
And supposedly in Canada, on the eBay.ca site, everything has been increased to 10 total
They're
offers.
like, Canada, 10 times.
Now, we have not experienced this, so it's been no change for us. I mean, normally, I'd say 90% of people that send in an offer, they send an offer in.
And that's like.
We'll either accept it, or we will give them a counter.
Yeah.
And if we give them a counter, most of the time we never hear back. It's like, it's not a back and forth, so... Okay, the other thing is we were talking about on the It's Forum, we had talked a week ago about how we sell a lot of furniture online.
We try to sell a lot,
And we do a local pickup.
Right.
And there was some confusion about how that works.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Because we do a local pickup, but then we have a lot of people who then send a shipper to come pick up the item.
They themselves don't pick it up.
And so let's quickly go over how this works. Up until recently, you could only have an item be shippable or a local pickup. You had to pick one.
Right.
But supposedly now you can do both. Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, if that's true, if you can say, I'll ship this via FedEx Ground, or you can come pick it up yourself, that would be awesome. that to me is ideal. I need to check my listings to see if I can do that.
But is that ideal for us? I mean, since we don't, I mean, the whole point for us is we have like, a big piece of furniture. We don't want to ship this thing. I mean, that's the whole point.
But there are things like certain lamps that I'm like, yeah, I could ship this and it's going to cost you X dollars.
Right.
But if you want to drive to my house, you can.
So let's say you have one of these items. It's too big to ship. Then what you do is you just put a local pickup on it, So that way someone can't choose it to be shipped.
Right.
And then what you do is, I'm trying to explain to our people out there. And then what you do is in the description say, this is for local pickup only. If you want to have it picked up, no problem, but that's its responsibility. Right. These are two it's shippers that we think are good.
Plycon and uship.com.
But really, it could be anybody.
Could be anybody.
But those are just two that seem to work. And in that way, the buyer then they can purchase it, and then they have to figure out how to have it shipped. So they contact the its shipper and work out details and prices and all that stuff. And then once the company comes and picks it up from our house, we are no longer its responsible. Right. We have dealt with that. And the other thing is when you just have a listing that is a local pickup, you do not get dinged for it shipping late.
Right.
Because there's no shipping on it.
If you, for some reason, you need to call eBay and be like, take this off because I had to wait, 3 weeks for this guy to come pick it up. It's local pickup only. You should never see a ding for that.
And so just to kind of like, just have an overall idea about what we're doing, it's basically Craigslist.
Yeah.
You're using eBay like Craigslist. Here's an item, this is the price, and it's local pickup, and you just come pick it up, and it's just like if you did it on Craigslist, except they can pay online.
Right.
Exactly. It's Craigslist where it's all cash.
Right, exactly. Good explanation, Jay. Yep.
So our friend Ben at New Orleans, we have interviewed him. It's before. He sent us a note, and he also made a post on the its forum that says that when you're taking pictures on the eBay its mobile app, there's more control over it than what we thought. Right,
because before you would just be able to take like a vertical photo.
Well, we were complaining about that a week ago, and so he said he heard that, and then he said no. I think you have to maybe update the app.
Because my app won't do it.
But he says if you take it, and then if you turn the...
He said tap the camera, whatever.
And then that by tapping the camera, it will reorient the camera so then you can take a landscape photo.
Right, which a lot of times you want to do. Right.
So we couldn't get it to work, but maybe we haven't updated our phones. So I don't know if anyone else has tried that yet, but if that works...
It would be a huge time saver that you don't have to rotate a photo after.
I mean, something else I noticed on eBay that they improved upon, which I think is very good, because I had it's mentioned this. So when you're on your eBay, it's Seller Hub. If you scroll down, one of the boxes is it's growth. And it shows you items where they say you should update these. So if you click on that, you can then change the price just right there. It's before you had to click on it, and it brought up this whole old eBay editor. It's just like it's bringing up this whole database. Now it's more like Amazon, where Amazon really makes it easy where you can update them. Yeah. I mean, like it's when it clicked on it,
So what does it say? What's the item right now?
It's like out of like 5,000 items. There's like 200 items they say we need to update, and it's just all kinds of.
Does it give you suggested prices?
Calculator. So it's what it does is look here. I'll do this calculator.
See, I'm like I don't know.
We have a calculator up for like $12. They said its recommended price is $8.99.
So I love it. So you can just click the you could click the button.
Oh, so
does it automatically adjust it? Yeah.
So it's just that's just like Amazon where they're like, do you want to do it at the same price?
So that's interesting. So now it's that price, right?
Yep. You've updated your price.
That's great.
Isn't that great?
I hope it sells today.
Yeah, right. I'm like, we're not going to sell something for $8.99.
I know, but hey, get it off my shelf.
Because they say at the price we had it at $12.19, we had 100% chance that it would not sell. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, like,
hey, well, that's cool because some of those might be older listings. Yeah. You want to adjust the price a little.
So, I mean, this is actually makes it a little easier. That's very
helpful.
Where I might be more inclined to walk through here.
Yes.
And
instead of just manually doing it.
However, I will say I will click on some of these things like these long tail items, and they're like telling me how much I should price. You know, we have it like $89, and they're like, "It's make this $3." Like, no,
that's like Airbnb. They're like, your price should be so low.
Like that's when the computer is not as smart as a person.
You're like, no. But yeah, okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and answer any questions that people sent in.
You can always call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. You have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hi, guys. Love your podcast. I've learned a lot from you guys this year. I've made almost $2,000 just selling little piddly things. I really enjoy doing it. I do work a full-time job. So my question is, taxes. I work a full-time job, and now I have this extra income. Is that something that I will have to report? I hear you guys talking about taxes, but you're like running a business. So would it be the same for me? And then another thing is the global shipping. I'm having issues shipping things like to Norway, Puerto Rico, and things like that. The person will buy it, but then they send me a message through eBay wanting to know how much it's going to be. And I don't have any idea because their zip codes are kind of weird and they won't fit in the thing for me to try to calculate it. So I called eBay and they said, well, the buyer has to actually purchase the item, and when they go in to purchase it, then it gives them a total. But I can't get the buyers to understand that. They don't want to go in and try to purchase it till they know a total first. So I don't know what to do about that. We've had to cancel a couple transactions because I couldn't get a total, and eBay would only tell me to have the buyer contact them, and then I tell the buyer to do that, and that's it. I never hear any more back from them. But anyway, I just had that question for you about the taxes. That's the most thing I'm worried about. But thanks a lot for everything you guys have taught me so far. Bye-bye.
Okay, first I'm going to talk about the global shipping. Number one, Puerto Rico should not be in global shipping. It is a U.S. territory. We just talked about this a couple of podcasts ago. Someone was having an issue where Puerto Rico was showing up as an international shipment, but they use USPS in Puerto Rico, so that should just be domestic shipping. As far as a country like Norway, if you want to see how much it's going to be in global shipping, you can change the country on the eBay page through the shipping info. You won't put the zip code. There's a country drop down. So you change to Norway and you can give them the price. For whatever reason, they're not seeing it. I don't know why. It happens to me too. They're not looking in the right place, or they're on the mobile app and it's not showing, whatever. So that's how you can give them the price of the shipping. And then in terms of taxes, you're saying you're doing this as a hobby, and you work a full-time job. So do you have to report that income? Yes.
Well,
I don't know how you report it if you have a W-2.
I mean, like people want to hear from us, like permission to not claim money on taxes.
You gotta claim it.
I mean, it's a gray area, and I guess we always just say, imagine if you get audited,
right? And
you're sitting in front of an IRS agent. Can you justifiably say, this is just like I just sold some stuff around. It's my house. Like it's just like a yard sale, or is it basically you have a side business,
Yeah.
I mean, hobby is kind of a gray word. And so really, if you're making regular income from selling on eBay, it's a job, it's a business.
Income.
It's a small business.
Yeah.
If you're just selling something every, 6 months that you have lying around the house, that might be more of just...
I'm assuming that people have accountants, but I guess if you do a regular job, you might not have one, but you should ask an accountant because we are not tax experts.
Yep.
Hi, Jane Ryan. Dan Madsen here from Seattle, Washington area. Hey, I was just listening to your last podcast from Memorial Day weekend, and you guys were talking about taking pictures with the iPhone and how to do that. So I just wanted to share a couple things I do. First of all, as you probably know, eBay is set up for pictures that are square, so the pixels are same on the bottom and the side. And so now I have an iPhone 7 Plus, which I love. It's really cool. And I have the option when I take photos from the photo app itself, not from within the eBay app, I have the option of taking a square photo. So that gives you a nice full picture. When you go select that from the eBay app, it'll ask you if you want to select from your camera photos, if you want to take a photo, so you select from your camera photos. So I do that square, and then on my phone at least, if the colors are kind of weird, if I touch and hold my finger on the color or the center of the item that I'm photographing, it'll usually color correct pretty well for the whole picture, which is pretty cool. And then the other thing is, when I tip my phone, so I'm taking a square picture, and if I tip my phone forward too far, it'll think that I've turned the phone 180 degrees the other way, if that makes sense. And so I have a little icon at the bottom of the photo app that'll show that it's taking the picture essentially upside down. So if I take it that way, it's going to be upside down, and I'm going to have to rotate it twice to get it back upside. Or if I tip my phone to the right or the left, it can do the same thing. So I just make sure that when I'm taking the photo, that the phone is tipped up a little bit, and the little icon at the bottom shows that I'm taking the photo in the orientation I have the phone. So anyway, hope that helps. Just a couple little tips. Thanks for the podcast. Love what you guys do. Have a great day.
Okay, so the thing that you're describing is your photo app, which does have a lot of controls, like you said, in your iPhone or your Android or whatever. A lot of us don't use that because then you're storing all these photos, hundreds and thousands of photos that aren't going to fit on your phone. And that's what I love about the eBay app. I don't need to store photos. I just need to take a photo and get it up to eBay, and it's like a temporary thing. And that's the issue, is that the eBay app, doesn't allow you to color correct, and it allows you to rotate, but as we were saying, Ben let us know that now you can do either side. eBay photos are not square. You can upload just square photos and it's fine. And the little icons usually are square when you're looking through the mobile app. But you can take wider photos. I think it's 4:3 is the aspect ratio. And the eBay app only takes 4:3 photos. I wish it just took square photos. That would actually be quite convenient. But it does allow you to do a vertical or horizontal photo, just to be accurate. But those are good tips for photo apps for sure. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog and our forum at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation. You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. Again, the phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video that shows you what sold on eBay and how much it sold for, currently being brought to you by Stephen Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast, and that's at shampooandbooze.com, where we talk about our vacation rental business and our renovations on the other house, etc., etc. You can rent our vacation farmhouse. There is a link to that on shampooandbooze.com. We do have some openings even for the summer, so check it out. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.